Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another movie review. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2017 film Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. So I'm going to begin this review by saying that this movie has what I would consider to be a very interesting premise, but it fails to really deliver anything upon said premise. The main selling point of this movie, besides its cast, is the idea that it takes place within a video game, but they don't really stick with developing and utilizing this storytelling device at all. I will give them credit for using a ton of video game tropes like lives, cutscenes, and NPCs, but these elements aren't really used properly within the movie. To give you an example, Nigel is supposed to be the guide for the characters at the start of the game, an NPC character who is supposed to simply deliver his monologue and then leave. However, there's times where he breaks this character and directly addresses something that the others have said, like when he corrects Fridge's pronunciation of his character's name. This is something that would not be programmed into any normal video game, and so this is where the movie kinda starts to lose me. Several more plot holes in this premise are present in our movie's main antagonist. We see a cutscene early on where it explains his backstory, which is generally lazy screenwriting, but it works in this movie given its video game meta humor. Anyways, this occurs and we know the characters see it too, yet when we cut back to him later on in the movie, the other characters are unaware of this information. This makes it a very weird concept that makes zero sense within the established rules of this game/movie. While these plot holes are bad, the worst one for me is when our four main characters are saved by Alex at the bazaar. When I first saw this movie, I thought it was going to be a really cool moment where the characters caught a glimpse of the main villain and then got saved by another NPC, but then as soon as they revealed it to be Alex, they completely lost me. It just makes absolutely no sense within the context of the movie, between the fact that he somehow managed to complete all the other levels without any of their abilities, how he knows exactly where they are and when they need to be saved, and the sheer convenience that he just shows up right before the level that they'll need his piloting expertise. The absolute worst part about this though is how they consider Alex to be the missing piece, which is bullshit because there's no way a game would have that programmed into its code, even if it was the changing Jumanji game. This whole setup with Alex and him being stuck in the game forever is just something that was all around stupid and unnecessary to the story of the movie, and I think it definitely should have been removed. Even without plot holes and inconsistencies, I still feel like this video game concept was handled very poorly. Take for example each character's strengths and weaknesses. When looking at some of them, it's stupid that they're included in a real game, and it's obvious that the movie was going for comedy over quality, but more on that later. Things like Fridge's character's cake weakness is a stupid thing to include just for a cheap laugh, rather than actually serving the story or fitting into what's supposed to be a real game that they're playing. Even things that aren't meant to be funny, like Martha's character's venom weakness, is just dumb. Literally take any person ever and let them get bit by a venomous snake, they're obviously gonna die. Giving her this very specific weakness was something added into the movie to have some form of payoff, but it's not earned as this detail is unnecessary and unrealistic in any other circumstances. Each of these strengths and weaknesses are only used once throughout the entirety of the movie, which is also infuriating because in a real video game, you have to use all of your abilities over and over again in order to win. It's another really annoying thing that once again defies all the logic in the premise of this movie. Overall, the script of this movie is terrible. It's filled with plot conveniences and cliches, especially in its one-dimensional characters. We've got the popular girl, the jock, the shy girl, and the video game nerd guy. That's basically it. They try to show character growth at the end of the movie, but it doesn't work as we don't feel like our characters have really grown in the time we see them on screen. Sure, they did have a couple of heartfelt discussions along the way, but for the most part, they really just bickered and complained until the very end. Even with this, we're supposed to believe that they've grown and are all now best buds hanging out together, which to me is really unrealistic. Like I touched on earlier, this movie goes for comedy over quality, like a lot of comedies do. I wouldn't see this as a huge issue, as most of the jokes do actually land, but it's just not something I enjoy. I prefer a well-made movie with a few humorous moments to a cheap comedy with no actual story. This is most likely an unpopular opinion, especially given audience reviews for this film, but I'll still stand by my beliefs. Another thing that people probably don't have a problem with that really annoys me is how time travel is portrayed in this movie. It happens exactly like 90% of all their time travel movies, and it's infuriating how inaccurate it is. I don't really feel like getting into all the science behind it and stuff, but basically this type of time travel creates paradoxes that make everything that happened impossible to have actually happened in real life. Okay, so I'm basically at the end of the review here, and honestly, it's feeling way more like a rant than an actual review. So I'm gonna finish it up with a few quick positives before I wrap it up. I said that this movie went for comedy over quality approach, which, while it does have negatives for me personally, it's also a good thing, because it meant that it's actually a really funny movie. A lot of the props for this have to go to the great cast, as they're all able to play their IRL characters really well within the video game. Best performance has to go to Jack Black, but Dwayne Johnson does really good as well. Kevin Smith and Karen Gillan are decent as well, but I didn't laugh at them nearly as much as the other two. In conclusion, this movie is very poorly made, but if you're looking for a simple watch for family movie night, it's passable. Because of the terrible writing and overall execution of the movie, I'm gonna give it a measly 3 out of 10 for quality of film. Since it was genuinely entertaining if you look past all of these issues, I'll give it a 6 out of 10 for entertainment, giving it an overall rating of 4.5 out of 10. Anyways, that's all I have to say, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm not entirely sure what my next video is going to be yet. I'm either next week going to review the second Jumanji movie, or I'm going to review the new Space Force series. So let me know in the comments below if you have a preference for either of those two, or if you want to see something else entirely, also leave that in the comments below. If you want more updates, check out our official Instagram, entity_films. Thank you guys all for watching, and have a good day.